I both don't like and yet long for endings. Let me explain. I have always loved stories, whether they are stories people have told me they have experienced, movies, TV shows, or books. I love getting pulled into a good story. Even my capstone at Providence was centered around storytelling and the value of using it in education. Yet, when I reached an ending of a good story of a book or TV series, I'm saddened that I've reached the end. For example, at the end of my reading the Lord of the Rings series, I was tearing up in the last chapter. Not because the ending was sad. In fact, it was a good ending. But because it was the ending and my journey with these characters was coming to an end. And it's not like this came quickly. Any of you who has read the Lord of the Rings books knows that they're not the shortest books, nor the easiest, nor the quickest to get through. But they're good. So good that the ending is bittersweet. However, despite my love of stories and reading and my dislike of endings, I have to confess that I have a bad habit when I read. Sometimes I can't stand it, and I just have to know what happens next. So instead of just reading the next chapter, I look on, rapidly paging through my book and reading a little bit here and there until I reach the end. I feel the need to be assured that everything will work out, and after I finish looking on, I go back to where I was in my book, confident that it will all work out, and yet excited to find out what happens in the middle and how we get there. In all our lives, we too face the same desire to want to know what's coming up and look on, so to speak, in the next chapters of the story of our lives, especially when we reach a crossroads, like a graduation, where one set of chapters are ending and another is beginning. Yet in life, when we're in the often chaotic middle of our stories, we can't look on like I have a bad habit of doing in books to know what's coming up. However, we can be comforted to know that God does. God is the author of our story, and he knows our beginning, middle, and end. And so, because of this, we can trust God throughout all the ups and downs to come in life, for he is the author of our lives and has a plot line for us better than we could plan or imagine. Now, let me take us, class of 2022, back to these shared chapters in our lives that have been these college years. When we came onto the old campus freshman year, we couldn't have pictured what was coming. Oh, we knew we'd be working towards graduation and that we would have classes and homework and fun college adventures to come, but we couldn't really fully picture what these chapters would be like. In these past years, we've gone through a lot. In our studies, as individuals in our personal stories, as a class in the changes that we've faced, on the athletic field, and also in the fun adventures and little moments that are also a part of our story here. Through it all, we've grown in understanding of so many subjects in our specific concentrations in the Lord and in who we are. In our classes, we dug deeper into the Bible with Dr. Swanson, looked at beauty, goodness, and truth with Dr. Cunningham, dug into English with Professor Alski, Professor Uraro, and Professor Cook, and in our concentration classes with a variety of other wonderful professors. We couldn't have expected some plot twists that came our way, like the abrupt narrative shift in the middle of freshman year when we moved campuses, or the cliffhanger during sophomore year when we went home from spring break and then didn't come back the rest of the year because of COVID. Online classes, remember that? And the chapter of the year after, where we were still affected by COVID with Zoom classes most of the year, but still thankfully able to be on campus. In the middle of these unexpected plot developments, it was hard to see the purpose of these things, but we could see the goal of graduation in the distance, and were being equipped to face these things by our classes and experiences. Yet we also have memories from these college chapters of adventures, like going to the beach with friends, memories of events like at school, like dressing up for Pete Hine and watching the films people made, and memories of hanging out with friends and roommates on campus. Those random late-night fast food runs, walking around and exploring Pasadena, talking into the night with roommates, working hard or perhaps hardly working in the ARC, going to sports games, talking with professors after class, helping with Senate to set up and plan events, excitedly looking on Instagram to see what the next funny meme on See Bigger Memes would be, studying hard for exams, These little things add up to memories, parts of our plot I'll treasure forever, all pieces in chapters of this time. Both the big narrative shifts and the small scenes are important memories to cherish, as they all play a role in shaping and equipping us both for the ending of these chapters with graduation and for the chapters to come. I also want to thank you all for being a part of these college years, these chapters with me. A special thank you, each of you, for coming to this special occasion to celebrate our graduation. Thank you, parents and family, for being so supportive and caring. Thank you, my mom and dad, for all your love, support, and for all you've done for me over the years and taught me. Thank you, my extended family, for all the memories we've shared and all you've taught me. Thank you, professors, for shaping us, helping us grow in understanding, and impacting us. Thank you, Professor Van Spronsen and Professor Bykirk, for shaping how I think about education and taking the time to listen and talk about things. Thank you, Dr. Swanson, for your passion for the Bible and helping us grow in understanding of it. Thank you, Dr. Cunningham, for your enthusiasm about the humanities and letting me be your TA. I'll always notice the columns I see and think about what kind they are. Thank you, Professor Crook, for all that you've taught with literature and writing and good times talking after class. Thank you, Dr. Alexander, for growing my understanding in a variety of topics. Thank you to all the staff and faculty for all you do. I've grown up around this school, and I know you do a lot. Thank you, Dwayne, for the stories, laughs at work, and especially the donut holes. Thank you, Ms. Sy and Elijah, for all you've taught me working in the registrar's office. Thank you, Jen and Kyle, for all you do, and I'm thankful as well I got to be a part of Student Senate and for all they do. Thank you, friends and roommates, for always being there for me, for all the wonderful memories that I will treasure forever, and for helping me grow so much. Thank you to my home church, First Chino, URC, and my home away from home church, Pasadena, OPC, for helping me grow throughout the years. Thank you, all of you, for being a part of this story, my story, our story, God's story. But this graduation isn't just a closing of some chapters in our lives, but the beginning of some new ones, with new adventures, new challenges, and new memories, which is exciting, sad, and nerve-wracking all at once. So as we reach the end of this chapter, let's remember what Proverbs 16 verse 9 tells us. The heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. God has a plan even when we are in the messy middle of things and can't see what's going on and where these next chapters in our lives are going to go. I love the Chronicles of Narnia. One of my favorite chapters in one of my favorite books in the series is the unwelcome fellow traveler in the book, The Horse and His Boy. In this chapter, Shasta is in the murky middle of his story, walking by himself and is frankly feeling miserable and unfortunate that he's faced so many challenges and lions in his life. He tells of his woes to a traveler walking beside him in the mist, who ends up being Aslan. Aslan tells him it isn't unfortunate that he's met so many lions, because Aslan explains, I was the lion who forced you to join with Erebus. I was the cat who comforted you among the houses of the dead. I was the lion who drove the jackals from you as you slept. I was the lion who gave the horses new strength of fear for the last mile so that you could reach King Loon in time. And I was the lion you don't remember who pushed the boat in which you lay, a child near death, so that it came to the shore where a man sat, wakeful at midnight, to receive you. Aslan was with him, guiding him throughout all the parts of his story, even when he couldn't see it. We too often don't know why things are happening in our lives, especially when we're in the messy middle of the chapters of our story. So, though we can't look on and see where each of us will be in the coming chapters after this commencement, we can be comforted that God knows our story and what plot twists lie ahead, and even though we're often in the messy middle, He has a plan and will see us through. And at the end of those chapters, just as at the end of these ones, we'll look back and see how He has orchestrated the plot in such a way that we see how it worked for good to complete the story He has written. So even though we can't look on and look forward into our coming chapters, we can look back at our previous chapters and see how God has equipped us through the plot twists we've gone to and the characters we've encountered to face the chapters to come. Whether we face unexpected plot twists, characters we don't like, or other obstacles, we can face them and trust God, knowing it and all of our stories a part of His greater story. So let me leave you with some words of a poem I wrote a few years ago when another chapter was ending. It's called Diverging Paths. Here's where our paths diverge and may not cross again, on this journey we call life, as we do not know where each other's paths will bend. However, it's been a blessing to share this portion of my trail with you. Whether through steep mountains, deep valleys, or even smooth plains, you've been there for me, and I've been there for you. And even though I have a feeling our paths may cross throughout our days, time and time again, it won't be the same as this part of the trail we've shared that's just about to end. So as our paths diverge and hopefully cross again, may God's blessings come to you as this new part of your trail begins. Thank you.